cow stepped on this paddle. I'm going to use epoxy to patch it. I've done that before and it works fine to patch it. There'll be some spots where the wood doesn't quite match up, and so where it's kind of ragged, I'll cut that off and just use epoxy to patch the hole. The epoxy I like to use comes with these pump dispensers. They're really convenient. You just push once on the resin, once on the hardener. That gets you the right ratios. The problem with it is sometimes they have a little post-nasal drip that comes out of their little snouts, and if that epoxy snot drops on your table, it stays sticky forever. To guard against epoxy snot, it's nice to cover the workbench with some craft paper, but it would also be nice to not use the top of the work table to cut the craft paper and to have a more convenient way to hold the roll of the craft paper. That brings us to workshop improvement of the week. For this week, it's a craft roll paper holder. I bought a roll of craft paper on Amazon. It's 29.5 inches wide, and the support stick that goes through the center of the roll can be 3/4 inches square. So that's pretty easy to find. I made the support stick 36 inches long. There's the dimensions up on the screen. The base is a piece of 1x6. It's 3/4 inches thick by 5.5 inches wide. It's 32 inches long, so there's plenty of room for the paper roll on it. And it's held up by two end pieces that go on the outside of the base. This is what the two end pieces look like, and I'll have a spot that shows all the dimensions. You can take a screenshot when those dimensions are on screen and get all of those. But you start with the base piece, which again, as I said, is a piece of 1x6. So that's 5.5 inches wide, 3/4 inches thick. The end piece is going to go to the outside of that. And it faces the front towards that bevel to give you a nice surface to cut the paper on. So the dimensions will come up on this in just a second. There they are. So the end pieces are 8 inches wide, 4 inches high. The little notch there, it's a 3/4 by 3/4 notch to fit your support stick, and that starts at about 4.5 inches from the front edge. It doesn't really matter exactly where you put the bevels, but the bevels are kind of nice because they make it easy to reach in to do the cuts. Here it is, showing how those bevels make it nice to bring a knife in. You use the base piece to cut so you're not cutting on top of your tabletop. I used screws only, no glue, to attach the end pieces, but you might want to use some glue on there, especially if you're using 3/4 inch wood rather than the kind of thick stuff I had. My pilot holes were drilled a bit bigger than the screws I'm going to use, so the screws just slip right in there. And I drilled the pilot holes on the first piece, then used those pilot holes to place the pilot holes on the second piece. It doesn't show the countersink, me putting in the countersinks, but I did do some countersinks on those end pieces, just so the screws would fit in there better. Depending on what screws you use, you may not need countersinks. This just shows the little countersinks I've got in those end pieces. And when I did the pilot holes that go into the base, I used a drill bit that's smaller than the screws, so it gives them something to bite into. And here I just demonstrate how one of the screws goes easily into the end piece without sticking in the end piece, but then bites into the base piece. That's it for this simple project. Please subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. Hit the like button. Thank you very much. And yes, I did finish repairing the broken paddle.
think